Well, welcome to World of Hearthron DM Tips with Bilbo, and today I am going to discuss, as soon as I make sure that I can hear me, check, check. Yep, believe I'm online here. Yes, just trying to get feedback, just make sure that I hear myself talking. Hate to record stuff that I uh, don't get my volume here. I think it's working. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yep. So, why am I here today, and why do you see uh, against the Giants here, and then on my other screen, the Forge of Fury, the Sunless Citadel? Well, for what else? To talk about the next release from Wizards of the Coast, Tales from the Yawning Portal, I should say, and when I think of Dungeons and Dragons classics, adventures, modules, dungeons, the first five that come to mind for me, and I'm an old school, I've been playing the game since the beginning almost, 1977. The five that are in my head as a player, as a DM, are Keep of the Borderlands, White Plume Mountain, Tomb of Horrors, Against the Giants, and then Secret of the Slaver's Stockade. I have to say those are probably my top five modules out there that at least that I have grand memories of, whether they be positive or negative. Um, but those are the five that come to mind right away when if somebody asks me, "What are your five favorite TSR Wizards of the Coast adventures?" I'd definitely rattle those five off easy. So I have to say I'm pretty excited to see Wizards of the Coast. Next book coming out is to be the Tales of the Yawning Portal. I know myself and others going into 2017, I mean other DMs, wondering, what is Wizards of the Coast going to do in 2017?
Yeah.
Yes, sweetie.
What are you doing?
Recording the video.
Okay, Milani wants to call him.
All right. All right. So sorry, I was interrupted by the wife. Fantasy football stuff that I need to take care of after this, I guess. So they came out with Volo's Guide, Storm King's Thunder. Both great books. I have both of them. I got one from one of my good friends, Volo's Guide for a Christmas present, and I got Storm King's Thunder as an anniversary present from my wife for 29 years of putting up with me and my hobby. So some thought that Wizards of the Coast, and I'm talking about other DMs out there, thought that Wizards of the Coast might not do anything since their focus should be on the new D&D movie in 2018. And guys, Wizards of the Coast, please don't mess this up. Hopefully, above all else, it will be a good storyline. I mean, that's what you want. I know they're banking on this movie, and hopefully it does great, and hopefully it's a story we can all remember for years to come. So putting out the Tales of the Yawning Portal is a great idea. One, you get old school guys that will just want to buy the book, and put it on their shelf, like me, just to have it for nostalgia reasons. But this will give the new players some great adventures that us old guys loved, with White Plume Mountain, Tomb of Horrors, Against the Giants. Uh, Also in this book is the Hidden Shrine, Tamokin, I think I said that right, the Sunless Citadel, Forge of Fury, and Dead End and They. These are 7 modules for $50, which, believe it or not, that's a great deal. I'm sure these are all going. Well, I know they're all going to be full adventures, and I'm sure the artwork and the maps will be great as well. That will come out in this. I really have liked what Wizards of the Coast has been coming out with in fifth edition, and I'm still rather new to fifth edition. My group, we just converted over in I think around June of 2016. So I'm still getting used to the rules. My players are still getting used to the rules. We're 3.5 guys in the past. Of course, I've played, from the very beginning with the soft the 3 books that came in a little box back in the day, and I've gone up edition by edition as the game has gone. So let me talk about these 7 adventures. So you can start saving your change to purchase this book, and you can either get this book March 24th in your gaming store, which I think is great if you're by a gaming store. Please go out and support them. I know growing up as a kid, I had a gaming store, and that's how I really got involved other than and I will go into detail about that here, but I had a gaming store literally 4 blocks away from my house, which was wonderful as a kid. Or on April 4th, it will be out on Amazon. So I'm first going to talk about the 3 adventures, my 3 favorite adventures that are in this series, and then I'll talk about the other 4 that are in there as well. So let's start off with White Plume Mountain. This is a real fun adventure to go through as a player. I probably was about 13 years old when I went through this adventure. I still remember it and love this adventure. This came out in 1979, and I remember playing in my friend's dining room over a long snowy winter. In January, we literally bought it, right when it came off the shelf. Um, we stayed up all night through this whole weekend and played through this adventure. It was for characters between 5th and 10th level. I can't, of course, remember what level my characters were, but maybe around 8th at the time. I think somewhere around there. Um, and I will be curious to see what Wizards of the Coast makes each of these adventures, what character levels they're going to be, since the game has kind of switched to this is what your character should be at level going in, and then coming out we'll see. Um, all these adventures are dungeon crawls, so I wonder if Wizards of the Coast will set up characters being able to level through each one in sort of with Tomb of Horrors being the finale. I hope that will be the case. Uh, I will go into them a little bit more against the Giants because you could actually run a campaign out of there, and I'll go into that here in a little more when I get to that. So the basis of White Plume Mountain is a group that set out to find 3 powerful magic items in this volcanic mountain that is a wizard's lair. And I'm not going to give any spoilers away. There are great encounters, traps, puzzles, even a riddle. And like I said, I won't give any spoilers away or anything like that on any of these. So if a player's listening to this, don't worry, I'm not going to give any secrets away. And for the DMs that want to just look into this and go, wow, this is great. And I'm sure Wizards has to change some things here and there to make it work with 5th edition. So we'll see what they kind of come out with. And I love this adventure as a kid. Even though I've created my own adventures since I was a teenager, I might start DMing these adventures that I own or will own from Wizards of the Coast. I now own the Storm King's Thunder. I own a couple of the other adventure books like Curse of Strahd, and then Rise of Tiamat, and I haven't. I'm not using them yet, and I may not, but I might, or I might deviate from them and put them into my world somehow. We'll come and see what happens in 2017. Let's just say that. It's a brand new year. Now, Tomb of Horrors. This is Gary Gygax's baby. This came out in 1978 to the public. Uh, for you crafters, I actually got to see this dungeon built for miniatures with Dave Arneson was DMing this adventure at the University of Minnesota here. And it blew my mind. And this might have been part of me getting hooked to Dungeons and Dragons at 10 years old. My mom and dad took me to the university to see this just elaborate dungeon. It was crazy. He had, and this is, 1977, and there's lights working in this dungeon, and you could take off the roof parts to see each room as they went through. It was incredible to see, and who knows whatever happened to that dungeon, but it was something to see as a 10-year-old. Without a doubt, when you go through this as a player or as a DM, you should probably think I'm not coming out. As a player, plan for your character to die. As a DM, you should look at this being a total party kill. It's almost a rite of passage to see if you can make it to the end or not of this adventure, which is a demi-lich. That's my only spoiler. And Dungeon Masters, if you want to start a new campaign, well, this adventure will end your campaign for sure. Guarantee you're going to lose characters in this. This dungeon is filled with nasty, deadly traps, along with plenty of encounters while you seek out this hidden demi-lich. Asarak is his name. One more. That's it. Spoilers. Sorry, and that's not going to be a thing that's really a spoiler. You're going in this to find this demi-lich. You know what his name is, so that's right there in the adventure. I played and died in this adventure as well as DM and killed the entire party. And it's been years. Like I said, I haven't ran this since I was a teenager, but I did it and I played it as a teenager, and got killed. So one thing I want to state right here before I go on: you have to have your players that don't purchase and read everything in this adventure or these adventures. So if you have a player that's buying the books, just like you are, as if you're a DM, or if you're a player, don't look in these books. But I don't know why you'd buy them, and not look in them. That's the toughest thing, because you can figure out how to get by all the traps, the puzzles, the riddles, the guards, and it just takes the fun out of the game for the other players and the DM, and it's really cheating. And so now let's talk about Against the Giants. This adventure is what made me start making my own adventures. Actually, this is the adventure that I broke my teeth on. Don't get me wrong, I steal stuff from adventures all the time. I will talk about that with the Sunless Citadel and Forge of Fury. Um, Steeding of the Hill Giant Chief was the first adventure I DM'd at 10 years old. I had played Dungeons and Dragons all summer with my friend and his older brother and one of his friends. And I picked up the rules very quickly as a 10-year-old, and I was good at math. And I wasn't really good, with other classes in school. And so let me make another point here before I go on. And this is to parents or uncles or older brothers or sisters. aunts. And so, what age should you have your kids play Dungeons and Dragons at? And I tell parents as soon as possible. Um, as I stated, when I started playing, I was an average to below average student in school. But that summer that I started playing, um, one, my math skills improved. You're adding dice up. You have to know your arm, hit points, all that kind of stuff, your strength bonuses. And I hated reading, and but you have to read with D&D. And so by the end of that summer, my math skills improved, my reading skills improved greatly. The game teaches problem solving and dealing with people. And I'm sorry, Xbox and PlayStation, they just won't do the same thing. Um, so let's go back to Against the Giants. Um, so this older brother had me DM this adventure for him. The problem was he read and memorized the whole adventure and went through it with ease. Um, and so I was kind of a little discouraged with that. Um, but this adventure also, you know, I I realized that I could DM after DMing him, and my friend and his friend, that I could DM. And so this adventure holds a special place in my heart because it's the first one I ever DM'd. But it also made me, in the sense, okay, I'm gonna, um, do my own adventures. Now, don't get me wrong, I have stolen a ton of stuff out of this series with the Giants. I've stolen the maps, I've taken encounters out of there, and I would also say Keep of the Borderlands, I've done the same thing. Those two adventures I've probably steal the most of my inspiration from those two modules more than any other adventure I can say that's out there. So, uh, the big bonus, I think, from Wizards of the Coast is that if they're going to do Against the Giants the right way, this really is three separate adventures. So really, you'd be getting 9 adventures for $50. So you have G1, Steeding of the Hill Giant Chief, where I broke my teeth on. G2, Glacial Rift of the Frost Giant Jarl. G3, Hall of the Fire Giant King. Now, these three you can really run a campaign around. And hopefully Wizards of the Coast does this right. I'm praying because, like I said, this is, you know near and dear to my heart, especially G1. Um, what it is here is the nobles hire the party to go kill giants. Pretty simple, right? But of course, these are giants. But as I stated earlier, I would probably try to make a campaign around this. In fact, I might wait myself to add Against the Giants into Storm's King Thunder and really make an epic campaign of it. So you really, so these are my three favorite. You have Against the Giants, Tomb of Horrors, just because I mean it's a murder fest in that thing, and White Plume Mountain. White Plume Mountain is incredible to play in. It's a lot of fun. You can survive it, but you can die in it as well. Don't get me wrong. But you can survive that adventure and feel pretty good coming out of there. Tomb of Horrors, like I said, is just trying to make it as far as you can make it, and see if you can make it to the Demi-Lich or not. That's tough. Um, so um, now let me talk about the others here. And I really wish the Wizards of the Coast. Well, this is what I should say. I hope that people like these books. I hope they're this book that's coming out in March. I hope it's well received. I hope it does well. and I wish that Wizards of the Coast, did keep with the Borderlands, Slaver Stockade too. But maybe they'll do this a next go around if this book's a hit. That's kind of what I'm hinting at. I hope that happens. So you have the Hidden Shrine of Tamoakan. And I think I'm saying that right, but everybody pronounces different, and I'm Midwest. This came out in 1980, and I played it once, but I never DM'd it myself. I never purchased it, I think. Um, it just didn't excite me. Characters, they enter a pyramid in a jungle. Um, know it was really popular because of the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Came out in 1981. So you had this, whole jungle pyramid adventure. You had Raiders of the Lost Ark out. Um, and it was another cool adventure, and it has a lot of traps and fun traps in there. But I know as a DM, I just wasn't excited about it, and so I never ran it myself. But I did play it once. I do remember that, and I don't believe I ever owned it. And if I did, I turned around and sold it. So next, I own, as you see, both Sunless Citadel and Forge of Fury. These adventures I have never DM'd, neither of them, but I've used the maps in my own adventures, as well as taken some creatures from both the adventures as well. I love both these adventures with their maps. The Sunless Citadel is a buried fortress where characters explore, and that's encouraged to go up levels during this adventure to deal with the end of this very detailed story. It's a good adventure with a wonderful map. The Forge of Fury is a dwarven forge in ruin, now held by goblins and orc, and another great map. In fact, this one has, I want to say, 5 maps in it that I've used. There's 5 different sections in this map, in this adventure, and I've used each one for my own adventures. I've never DM, like I said, I've never DM'd either of these. But I do know this: the Forge of Fury is good for a great adventure. I won't even say good, a great adventure for a new DM to start with. So I would recommend, if you buy this book and you're new to DMing, maybe do Forge of Fury as your first adventure. And it will be a first level adventure, so it will be perfect to go in. Dead and Thay is the one that I'm disappointed that's in this collection. I know it's a killer dungeon tribute to Tomb of Horrors, but really, I would have put Keep of the Borderlands, Slave Pits of the Undercity, Vault of the Drow, Castle Amber, any of those versus Dead and Thay, which is out on Dungeon Masters Guild already for 5th edition. And I'm not knocking it, but I really would have liked to see one of those 4 that I just listed. Any of those would have been great. I would have really loved Keep of the Borderlands. But like I said, Slave Pits of the Undercities, another great adventure. Vault of the Drow, Castle Amber is really cool. Any of those I thought to put in with these other classic adventures, and I know Sunless Citadel and Forge of Fury aren't classic. They're, rather new. But they're definitely good for new DMs. And maybe Dead of Thay is too. I just don't know much about it other than I know it's a tribute dungeon, a Tomb of Horrors. And I own Tomb of Horrors. And so I just probably, it will be interesting to see what it looks like. Who knows? Maybe I'll fall in love with it once I see it. So in closing, I can't wait for Tales of the Yawning Portal to come out. And to you youngsters out there, a word of advice from Bilbo: never sell your stuff. Don't sell it. Keep it. So, and I'm talking about your D&D stuff, your books, your modules, your figures. If you collect comic books, any your toys, do not sell it. Because I can tell you, I did this when I was growing up as a kid. I would swap in, I would sell modules like this so I could buy a new module. I'd turn 3 and be able to buy one, or sell some D&D books to buy another D&D book or a different game. And now I regret it as I'm older. I can't tell you how many times I've watched Comic Book Men and see the stuff that these people bring in to sell that I owned as a kid. Breaks my heart. Be worth a fortune. And now I keep the stuff. I tell my grandson, I'm like, keep that. We'll keep this in the case. Keep the boxes for this stuff, because as you get older, you may not want it, but you can turn around and sell it later on for much more than what you would get today.